Hey everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. Happy 2021. 2020 is over. This is our first show of the year. And it's a very special show. It's not a traditional Matt Men episode. It is our year-end awards. And of course, with me, the presenter, Rich Stambolian.
Hell yeah, baby. I'm going to present my award for favorite face. And it goes to you, Andrew.
Oh, thank you. Makes me so happy.
You got it.
Yeah, Happy New Year, by the way. We did a show on Thursday. Yesterday was New Year's Day. It was my daughter's 5th birthday. We had the family over. She was very happy with what she got. And today, I feel out of it a little bit. I've been out of it for like 2 days now. I'm not sick, so don't worry. I'm just tired. Just very run down.
Very achy. You lost your sense of taste.
It's all gone, man. I haven't tasted anything for like 3 years. So that's a whole different thing. But we do have an interesting show for you guys here. We are doing our year-end award show, and you guys voted on what your favorite moments and your least favorite moments in pro wrestling were, which I find very interesting by some of these selections. So pretty much, I mean, to kind of sum it up, Rich, a very surreal year in pro wrestling. I mean, this was probably the weirdest year you and I have ever had to deal with when it comes to doing the show because of everything going on. Pro wrestling, shockingly, never took a break, huh?
It was pretty interesting that it was a little touch and go here and there. It was a little touch and go with everything I think we like as fans, as far as like, I'm just going to name wrestling and comic books, where people were like, it's never going to come back. It's done. WWE took their route, which was to do a lot of replay shows when everything got into the lockdown. And then here comes AEW with, hey, we have a space to shoot and do stuff. So it was very interesting.
They were live every week, weren't they? Did they take any weeks off?
WWE?
Yeah.
I want to say they were doing live stuff with nobody in the performance center and then cutting to like Brock Lesnar SummerSlam.
Yes. You know what? I totally forgot about that. For people who don't remember it, like me, Rich had to remind me, they were doing like mix and match. So I remember they did the entirety of the men's Royal Rumble, one episode of Raw, which is very strange. It was very strange to see.
Yeah.
But they kind of, at that point, we got to remember, it was bizarre. Like it was, we didn't know how long this was going to be. And, we're almost a year in and we're still dealing with this. Still no live crowds for the most part. AEW had a couple of people there. But I think that's slowly ending. But I mean, to kind of review this and everything, how the year started, Evil won both titles at Wrestle Kingdom. I think that should have been the sign of it being a bizarre year.
Oh yeah, straight up. That's a good call. Evil wins both titles at Wrestle Kingdom, which seemed like it was yesterday, right?
I feel like, I was very surprised by that pick, and I was told 100% it wasn't a hot shot or anything like that. But You have to look at it this way. He won those titles, and he never got that run or whatever they had imagined that run to be.
Right. Well, neither did Naito, right?
Neither did Naito. But Naito, I mean, you kind of have an idea. This was Evil's moment to shine, and we never got it. So unfortunately, he suffered from this. Would you say this was the best Royal Rumble in? I mean, I put this year 2020's Royal Rumble in my top, at least my top 3.
Well, to clarify, also Evil won at Dominion.
Dominion, I'm sorry. Yes, Evil won at Dominion. Not
but
Wrestle
that was an interesting 2020 move that they did because it was stagnant at that point.
Yes, and everybody was asking if they were hot-shotting it because of
COVID.
Because of COVID, which he wasn't. But the plan was, I mean, to take that title off of Naito immediately. That was always the plan from Wrestle Kingdom. That's what I meant Dominion. And then what did you? I want to get your opinion on the Rumble because it feels like it was so long ago, but it wasn't. We're only a year ago, and this was really supposed to be the moment of the Kingmaker happening. Something that you and I have discussed for years on that guy that dethrones Brock Lesnar.
Absolutely,
he's now the guy, and it couldn't have been a Ricochet that does that. Even a Daniel Bryan, it couldn't have been. It had to be another gigantic human being, and they did it,
like a physically gigantic human being.
Yeah. And they did it. And, it fell flat because of everything with COVID. I mean, it's not Drew's fault or WWE's fault whatsoever, because if you really think about it, that Royal Rumble was so perfect as far as booking goes.
Yeah.
For one reason, and that's people were pissed that Brock Lesnar threw out 15 people. They were losing their minds. How this sucks. This is the worst. This is the worst. And I think you left early that day. You didn't stay for the end, but you were like midway through, and we were talking about this, and you said, "This is exactly what they needed to do." I'm like, "Yep, this is it."
Oh, 100%. And plus, like, I think the pop that Drew got sustained him for the entire year of 2020 for being like he was the last major moment on a live show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then the Edge return also, which was tremendous.
Oh, dude,
it still gives me goosebumps.
Well, how many years? 9 years? 11 years? 9 years.
9 years, something like that.
9 years in the making. 25 years in the making. This man hadn't wrestled, and all of a sudden here he is, and that got dethroned. But in a strange way, I think this is going to be his year to shine now, with the focus that I'm hearing that WWE's taking as far as what their plan is for this coming year once they're able to have a gate finally allowed. And of course, AEW crowned a new champion at Revolution, and that was Jon Moxley until a couple of weeks ago where he lost the title. So that was a quick stuff. COVID, obviously, all live events were shut down. WrestleMania had to change to the Performance Center, which, here's a question for you, right? Like, if we're looking at it in hindsight now, there was a lot that WWE could have done. Obviously, the move to the Performance Center was a temporary move with the hopes that it's possible.
Right. I think you hit the nail on the head by saying there's a lot of different things WWE could have done. It seemed like it got desaturated, right? Like all the color and life was out of the WWE product for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I think it was like, I think the fans expected them to do better, and they also didn't know what to do. And then all those budget cuts happened, and all these guys got released, unfortunately. So that kind of became a bigger issue.
And yet they had the biggest earning year that they've ever had in the company's history, not running any events because they had no travel. They had no house shows and there was virtually no travel. You have to. I think this actually put into perspective how much money is spent on just going from show to show. I have a weird take for 2021 that I think a lot of wrestling fans are going to be disappointed that I think this is the direction we should go in. I'm going to save that for the prediction part of the show. Because, and I would love to know what you think of this, because I think a lot of adjustments are going to be made this year. Obviously, we saw independent wrestling shut down totally. That's been gone. AEW took a residency in Daly's place. And we're talking about adjustments. And you kind of saw what a bureaucracy is capable of doing when you think on the fly, and what essentially a up-and-coming company without the red tape is able to do. AEW adjusted instantly because they had Daly's place. Even though WWE also had the Performance Center, right? And they had Full Sail at one point. But AEW took an adjustment much quickly than WWE was able to do, because remember, WWE has 30 years of it being instantly created in a certain way.
Right.
This is how you shoot wrestling. Not WWE. This is how you shoot wrestling. And all that went out the window. We saw the adjustments, and they both did a great job. I got to say, the second half of the year with the presentation.
I agree with that.
Cinematic matches, Rich. Did you enjoy them?
I liked them. I think the standout clearly is the Undertaker match, but I think my favorite, is the Stadium Stampede.
Still, that's your favorite, right?
I think that was still my favorite out of the whole year. There was a lot of other ones that I thought were kind of cool, but Stadium Stampede and the Undertaker match were kind of like the two of my favorite ones, but for very specific and different reasons. The Undertaker one was more moody, and I think that was like a nice send-off for the character, where the Stadium Stampede was more quote-unquote wrestling. Yeah. And it just it threw so much stuff into the mix, and it was awesome. It was like a spiked punch bowl full of wrestling.
Yeah. By the way, we got a photo from Jonathan. He just sent us the finger watching the the show with his orange soda tattoo, because he loves orange soda. So we also saw New Japan return with fans, which was great. So as far as the predictions go, this is how we're going to do this before we go into our awards.
Yeah, please.
At the end of the show, we're going to do our predictions. You can submit them in the YouTube chat, the Facebook group, or on Twitter, and you could use the hashtag MattMen2021.
Yeah, baby.
And I'm also going to be taking phone calls at the end of the show. You can feel free to call in. 888-828-1437. That's 888-828-1GFQ is the phone number. You could save this call at the end of the show and give us your predictions for the year. And with that said, Rich,
Yes,
it is time to go in to our first category. By the way, I want to thank the person who put this together. All nominees were selected by a large set of handsome and sexy Mattmen contributors. That being MG Geek drunk in his underwear at 3 a.m. sending us incoherent messages.
I know, right? Thanks, Mr. Gonzo.
Gonzo with
I'll never
15
forget those.
pages. Yeah. So we're going to go into our first group here.
Right.
But before we do, a little reminder of this famous moment from the show, and it's our Bruce from Connecticut holy shit moment of the year. A little clip from our phone call with Bruce from Connecticut. Coming right up. Should we pick this up?
Uh-oh.
Are we in trouble? Wait a minute. Am I in trouble? Call, you're on the air. What's your name? And I guess you're calling from Connecticut.
Yeah, this is Bruce from Connecticut.
Bruce from Connecticut. Bruce, what's going on? Little clip of Bruce from Connecticut calling on the toilet bowl.
Geez,
Yeah. Which I'm going to have these clips also available for anybody that wants it in the show notes. It's 4 minutes long, so I want to kind of go through this quickly before we run out of time here, because we have only like an hour 15 to do this today. All right, so here is a criteria. It made you yell out because it was the last thing you thought would happen. Here are our moments. Edge returning at the Royal Rumble. Sting showing up on AEW Dynamite, Winter is Coming. Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam to begin his tremendous heel turn. Kenny Omega cheating to win the AEW title and taking it to Impact. Randy Orton ruining Edge's big return by attacking him. Io jumping off the Hell in a Cell. Blind with a trash can over the top of her head. Evil turning heel and winning both nights at Evil turning heel and winning at Dominion. Let me just move on here. Paul Heyman being revealed as Roman's chief counsel, turning him heel, and of course Becky Lynch's pregnancy announcement. Who do you think got this, Rich? Did you look at the results?
I'm looking at the results, and it's exactly
where you thought.
It was between two things, but I figured, since I think a lot of our fans and a lot of the people who watch wrestling with us on social media immediately gravitated to the winner. Can I say it?
Go right ahead. Yeah.
The winner of the Bruce from Connecticut holy shit moment of the year, Edge returning at the Royal Rumble. 38% of the votes.
38%. I mean, that's pretty unanimous.
And
that's
the
a
runner-up,
pretty unanimous moment.
Runner-up, Sting. Winter is Coming.
Sting, Winter is Coming was the runner-up. We also had, let's see, with 12% of the vote, we had, I can't see which one is which.
Made them both
Becky Lynch's pregnancy announcement. Becky Lynch's pregnancy announcement is also tied with Paul Heyman being revealed as Roman's, I guess, manager. Kenny Omega cheating to win at 12%. We had at 6%. We had Evil turning heel. I guess turning heel. He was a heel, but beating Naito, and Randy Orton ruining Edge's big return with a fraction of the votes, along with Roman returning at SummerSlam. So it seems like everybody was very big on Edge's return. I mean, listen, 38%. You should be. That's the biggest moment, really.
Yeah, straight up.
We also had the Women's Wrestler of the Year criteria: bell to bell, promo, consistency, and title being held. This was very interesting to me. This category.
It was a big one.
I'm not surprised, but I am surprised for the winner. And the winner is really Bayley, and for a number of reasons, right? I mean, you and I have spoken about what a tremendous performance she put on with such a boring start to her gimmick.
Absolutely.
I voted for Bayley. I don't know who you voted. Who did you vote for?
I voted for Bayley.
Okay. The reason for me to vote was that she was able to adapt a lot quicker than a lot of other people. When this whole quarantine thing started and these fanless shows began, Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but her and Sasha were addressing the fans.
Yes.
When they were cutting promos, they were keeping their pauses in. They were looking at the crowd.
Yes.
And they were able to adapt very quickly. And wasn't it the Bayley match where they took, during a commercial break, they just stopped wrestling?
I'm gonna say yes.
It
They
was
just kinda
that.
looked at each other and walked around a little bit.
Yeah. They just stood there and they were like play fighting. They didn't realize that there was a raw feed going over, like how it used to be back in the day. If you had one of those C-band antennas, like that you see at like, you know, at a Hooters or like a big like sports bar where they had these gigantic. I'm not talking like a direct TV, huge satellite dish. Those would pick up essentially everything, the raw feed. So no commercial. So whatever they were sending to the networks is what you would get. And I believe it was somewhere in the Middle East. I can't remember where. This feed is going at, and they're just like play fighting in the ring. And then the ref's like, okay, we got 30 seconds. We're coming back. And then they're getting into it.
Time to come back.
And then you just see Bayley like put somebody in a headlock for like 3 seconds. Like, okay, we're back. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go. So tremendous job by Bayley this year. Runner-ups, Io Shirai and Sasha Banks. Some of the other people on this, it was Io and it was Sasha. Let's see,
the category was basically the who's who of women's wrestling for 2020.
Yeah. On the list, Alexa Bliss was on the list. I think she did well at the end of the year. Charlotte didn't really wrestle. Deonna Purrazzo had a great year, 6% of the vote. Shida got virtually nothing.
It's a shame too.
It is a shame. I think
like
a lot
Shida.
of it. Yeah, I think AEW's women's division needs to step it up. Men's Wrestler of the Year. Now, this is interesting. In this category, you want to run down the people in it?
Absolutely. So the criteria for men's wrestler of the year is the same as the women's wrestler of the year. Bell to bell, promos, consistency, and held titles. This is also a pretty interesting list, and we got a ton of responses for it. So to run it down real quick, AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley, Bray Wyatt, Brody Lee, Braun Strowman, Jericho, Cody, Daniel Bryan, Drew McIntyre, Evil, Jay White, John Moxley, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Naito, Okada, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. Now, this, I think, is looking at the results. This was a tough call, right?
Yes, very tough call. I would say that John Moxley was the man for majority of the year. I think Moxley and Jericho did a great job this year overall, but there was one moment that I think, for me, it was Roman Reigns' turn. And the reason why I went with that is that, even when he came back post-cancer, he wasn't this white-hot babyface.
No.
And people, obviously, he wasn't getting booed as much, because how do you boo a good guy that just survived cancer, I don't care how serious it was. I would not serious. He has cancer. So he found this weird limbo spot with quarantine happening, with the pandemic, him not having his match at WrestleMania, all this stuff happening, him going home. They were able to really create a character that has resonated. And for me, it was Roman Reigns. Did you have Roman picked for you?
I actually did go with Roman because I thought as much as I wanted to say Moxley or Kenny or AJ Styles, I think Roman, for many reasons, was the number one. Because I remember it kind of stopped you and I dead in our tracks when that first, what was his thing, the tribal chief, when that thing first happened, both of us were like, yo, this is dope. This is where this character needs to go.
He came out.
Holy
he
shit.
came out. Looked at the mic, looked at the camera, dead center, staring. He goes, "I'm gonna take a crap in your luggage," and he just walked out.
He left.
I'm like, "What a great heel! What a great heel!"
So he took that dump on national TV.
On national TV. I get why him. So in our poll, 22% of the vote tied went to Roman and Moxley. Listen, I totally get it. I'm not gonna say that it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that. So I've connected my laptop so I can play the clip, and every time it dings, it now will ding on the feed.
I feel like the Manchurian Candidate.
You just got triggered. You got to go do something crazy.
Oh.
22% of the vote. Here's the interesting. The runner-up. You know who the runner-up was?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Do you want me to tell you who the runner-up was?
Yeah, Drew McIntyre.
It's Drew McIntyre, which is cool.
Yeah, Drew had a good year. And then we had, who got 10%? Chris Jericho got 10%. AJ Styles virtually got nothing. 8% went to Bray Wyatt, which I was very surprised about. And then the other ones are just smaller percentage points here and there. But I'm curious to see how this changes this year. A lot of key players in this won't be on this list this year. Like Braun Strowman, I don't think he's going to be on this list. Jericho's going to be taking a step back a little bit in the next year. Once you're able... I think so. I think he's getting ready to kind of wind down for a little bit again and then come back. He's only stuck around this long because of the pandemic. And Daniel Bryan, I'm curious what his year looks like.
AEW, bud.
Did you see him do the Three Amigos thing on
Yes.
on SmackDown? I thought that was funny. That nobody got except for us because we're old.
I think we're gonna see him in AEW.
You think so? Okay, cool.
I think so. I honestly do think we're gonna see Randy Orton somewhere else within the next 10 years.
Okay.
I'm bringing it up again.
Okay. We'll do it on a prediction show. I want to know the year then. Tony Soprano, Tough Guy Award of the Year. The criteria was the willingness to kill yourself and your opponent in the hopes and hope they like you die trying. What? And hope like hell you die trying. There you go. Sorry. I could not read that.
Riddled with grammatical errors.
Was it me or was it him?
It was a little of both.
Little both. Okay. I'll take that. John Moxley by a huge, actually not a huge margin here. 30% went to John Moxley. And I was surprised at this. 28% went to Eddie Kingston. The guy only had a couple matches.
But those promos, man, and those sweet eyes.
And the sweet eyes. Yeah, he does have sweet eyes. Eddie, listen, you got some sweet eyes, man. All good.
Are you gonna manifest? You gonna manifest him coming on the show?
You want me to do that? Yeah, I could do that.
I did start watching the David Arquette documentary yesterday, and then
you're on board now.
I was like, I think Andrew could do this, and then my wife asked me, she was like, "Do you think Andrew could do it?" And I was like, you know what? I think so. I think he can. He doesn't need me to help manifest it, but I think he could do it. Watching that documentary, I was like, I think he could definitely do it.
You know what? When you think that I could do it, and when the chat room thinks I could do it, it gives me more powers.
You're gonna steal all the magic. Put your hand out to the screen.
Yeah.
Give Andrew the energy to manifest a friendship with David Arquette.
Yeah, please. It's gonna happen. I know it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Runner-up Eddie Kingston and of course Darby Allin. My pick was Darby, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he's murdered himself. So you had Darby Allin, and in the category, by the way, we had Tommaso Ciampa, Shotzi Blackheart, Penta, Nick Cage, Minoru Suzuki, John Moxley, Joey Janela, Io Shirai, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin. I think this list was kind of affected by the year that we had, but John
100%.
Moxley definitely deserves it. I went with Darby on this. All right, here's a great category, Rich, and you take this over.
We're gonna have to explain this one.
All right,
so this is for the worst segment or moment of the year. This is the shit in the laundry basket award. Criteria: cringe or just terrible booking. Now this comes from an inside joke that we have, where we were telling a friend of ours to take a dump in his laundry basket.
Just relentlessly. I mean, I don't think people realize Rich and I are in this group chat for about 3 days. That's all we told this guy to do. Like we were like 12. Like we were 12 years old and bullying him.
That is true. All right.
In a very kind way, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you, bud. So the criteria for this, again, cringe or just terrible booking. Lana Bobby Lashley wedding with Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Goldberg winning the title. Yeah, the cuck angle. Goldberg winning the title versus the Fiend in Saudi Arabia. SmackDown's karaoke showdown with Naomi, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, and Tamina. You clearly remember that one.
I do.
Tiny Retribution destroying SmackDown like they hired the LPs.
Yes.
The Nightmare Collective and the debut of Luther. I disagree with that one. Matt Hardy hits his head after missing a table but tried to finish the match. Rollins versus Mysterio, eye for an eye. Tyson Jericho segment, or Austin's appearance on Raw with no audience on 316. See, I like that a lot.
See,
I really like.
I love the picks in this category because some of the stuff I needed to remember, you know, like the Lana Bobby Lashley stuff was so cringe and terrible. I don't think like the Goldberg winning the title didn't affect me, and I'm not a huge Bill Goldberg fan. It didn't bother me as much because I knew what the direction was they were going with this. So even though it kind of sucked, but because of the way that it played out, it sucked. Not because he won, in my opinion. SmackDown Karaoke, I had to rewatch that. Tiny Retribution Destroying, I had to rewatch that. Nightmare Collective with debut of Dr. Luther was not great, but I think instead of that in this category, I would have put the Dark Order's beatdown at the end of last year.
The non-connecting punches?
That was terrible. But again, it happened in 2019 and not 2020. So that was actually really bad. Matt Hardy hitting his head, I wouldn't put it there because it was ouch. I would have actually put Matt Hardy in that crazy the Tony Soprano Tough Guy Award section.
Oh, absolutely.
Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Eye for an Eye sucked. The Mike Tyson bit was not great, and the Austin thing really disturbed me, dude. I know you liked it. It was so weird. It was so uncomfortable.
I think somebody from production watched a bunch of Eric Andres, and then they were
That's
like,
what it was.
I think we could do this with Steve Austin, and he was game, man. Him and the weird banter between him and Byron Saxton was fantastic. I'll even go so far to say it was fan-freaking-tastic.
Fan-freaking-tastic. There you go. Rich Stambolian said it. The winner in this catchphrase. That's a new catchphrase, yeah. Winner was Lana, Bobby Lashley wedding, with Liv Morgan returning. The runner-up was Bill Goldberg for the title versus The Fiend. I would have put, I don't know. I think they also, I guess this is fine. Whatever. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I also don't want that as my catchphrase.
You don't want it? How about I have a
what?
boner? Do you want that to be your catchphrase? Because that's the next category.
Do you know what I want my catchphrase to be?
What?
Get ready, spaghetti.
Get ready, spaghetti. All right, everybody in the chat room that's watching this right now, that's Rich's new thing. So whenever he comes in and he does the show, I want everyone to greet him with "Get ready, spaghetti."
Get ready, spaghetti.
Yeah.
With the spooky fingers.
Yeah. So this is the next category is I have a boner. Best match of the year. The criteria is the best work, best story told. Did it create an online buzz? So we have Walter and Dragunov. This was 10/29/20. This match got lost in the universe somewhere because, my God, this is a 5-star match.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it was on October 29th, which, incidentally, my wife's birthday.
Your wife's birthday. Nobody's talking about this match, and it was probably the one of the best matches of the year. Roderick
Absolutely.
Strong, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. Did I say it wrong?
Hard time.
I do. I really do. I told you, man, I can't, for the life of me, have it resonate if it's McAfee or McAfee.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Between you and MG Geek not being able to read or write, did you say, hey, man, I'll take the letters A through K, and I'll learn those real good?
That's how we do it.
And then you take the rest of the alphabet.
That's how we did it. That's why everything is half-assed. Oni Lorcan, Danny Burch, Pete Dunne, War Games match, takeover December 6th. You have also Adam Page, Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks at Revolution, February 29th. Okada versus Ibushi, Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 on January 4th. Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly, NXT title, October 4th, TakeOver 31. Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Survivor Series, November 22nd. Sasha Banks versus Bayley, SmackDown Women's Championship, Hell in a Cell, and Randy Orton versus Edge. The greatest wrestling match of all time. What would you pick before we go into these results? I want to know like your 3 from this list.
I think you know me. You know what I'm going to say my number 1 is. It's Okada versus Ibushi. Wrestle Kingdom Day 1. I mean, come on. I can't get enough of those guys. And honestly, my number 2 pick, it would be the Elite versus the Elite.
Okay.
Adam Page, Kenny Omega versus the Bucks. What about you?
I'm going to go with Adam Page and Kenny versus the Bucks, but really close with the and again, this is personal preference, right?
Yeah.
The Okada Ibushi one from night 1, I didn't love as much as I thought I would. Again, stellar match, but something was missing. It could have been just how I watched it more than anything else, because I watched it in like turmoil.
You watched it upside down.
Pretty
in,
much.
a basement you were trying to escape from.
Yeah, pretty much. The Finn Balor Kyle O'Reilly, it could be my favorite singles match of the year. It's up there.
Oh, very good.
The Walter Dragunov match was stellar top to bottom, but I understand why people didn't make it the pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is pretty close. I'm surprised by the Sasha Banks Bayley Hell in a Cell match being the runner-up.
Very interesting, yeah. And we had a lot of votes on this one too.
A ton of votes. Yeah, we're not even like it won by a number of points. So I mean, it got 18.5% of the vote. The next step is 12.5%, and that was a tie between Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and I believe Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, the War Games match.
Yeah.
But would you say that it was a year of really good wrestling? I wouldn't say it was.
I'm going to say it was. I'm going to say, like, the wrestling this year, I think, given the current situation that we're in worldwide, the wrestling this year has been top-notch. It's been fantastic. I really enjoyed watching wrestling. I think the performers gave us all they could. And I want to say 2020 was more memorable than 2019 in a lot of ways.
What was the big angle in 2019? I think it was Becky Lynch, right? Becky Lynch was the big...
Becky Lynch and year one
of AEW. Couple months of AEW.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was really it. And then 2020 was like all the fun stuff and like interesting stuff. And like we got a lot of cool stuff in 2020 as wrestling fans.
Yeah.
You know, and it started with the Edge return.
Dude, it started with Edge. It started with Drew climbing that ladder to become the man. Yeah. We had Wrestling Kingdom. I mean, and then we had New Year's Revolution. The first 2 months of 2020 was really solid wrestling. Like, we were on track to probably have a huge year, but fascinating. Next segment of the Mat Men Awards, the Intern Deacon Loser of the Year. Criteria is that either buried by their own actions or their company's booking. This was very interesting that three people, 2 of them for very similar scenarios, one just by booking. Exactly what the criteria says.
We're going to have to go through these one at a time.
Yeah, so go down the people on this list.
All right. So Rusev / Miro involved in the cuck angle on Monday Night Raw between his wife, Lana, Bobby Lashley, and Liv Morgan. Huge no thank you. Dud.
Yeah.
Right?
Dud.
Lana is also, you could have voted for Lana in this category also because she kind of falls into the same thing. I feel like Lana's booking at the end of the year was way better than Lana's booking at the beginning of the year. That's
not a personal attack whatsoever on any of these people when we're saying this. Except for maybe a couple of them. Except for a couple of them. But like Lana gets so much shit for some odd reason on the internet. It's brutal.
Ricochet's on this list, I think, just because of his deep push and possibly his $2 Chuck moment. If you know what I'm saying.
Was that 2020?
I think so. Retribution. Oh, no. Just because of poor booking, right?
Retribution, okay.
We had Baron Corbin also.
I got to take him off this list. I thought he had a good year.
I like Baron Corbin. I also thought he had a good year. I feel like MG Geek has a real hard-on for Baron Corbin. So that's why he's on there. So I feel like between you and I, we have to make an executive decision between the 2 hosts. Strike Baron Corbin from this list.
I'll strike Baron Corbin from this list. I think he had a good year. Dude, he also threw Elias off a stage.
He did. And you know what? You and I have been very high on Baron Corbin since his NXT days, where he was a completely different looking person. I think he's done well. I like his gear last night, man. Like, he's getting that new gear. I think big things for this guy. Velveteen Dream.
Oh boy.
Who knows?
Holy moly. This, by the way, there's still so much more to that Velveteen story. I just got to put it out there. There's so much more to that Velveteen story.
Rhea Ripley. Also, I don't think Rhea Ripley should be on this list either.
I think she had a bad, definitely she suffered from booking. Because remember where she was in March. She beat Charlotte.
I will. In my eyes, I'm taking Rhea Ripley off this list. I don't think she should be on this list.
Okay.
But I can see why she could fringe on that as far as booking goes. Next up, Matt Sydal. I want to say the impetus to put him on this list was the botch on his return at it was the Casino Battle Royal.
It was a Casino Battle Royal, yeah.
But I think I'm not saying strike him from the list. I'll put him on there, but they did a great job on BTE, kayfabing why he fell.
Yes, they put grease on the ropes.
Nakazawa oiled up them ropes.
and last on this list, big dummy Lars Sullivan.
Oh boy, that was straight up. That's
Big
what you're
dummy.
calling him.
Big dummy.
Get it out of your system before we go nationwide next week. But
I know. By the way, I was gonna give these Dave Meltzer boners, but I decided not to today because we're going nationwide now.
We got to be good boys at least for a little bit, so then at some point we can become bad boys.
Okay, we got a call. It's either a telemarketer or a caller. You want to do it?
Oh, let's do it, baby.
All right, caller, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Get ready, spaghetti.
Caller, you're on the air.
Oh boy, did you just get butt dialed?
I got butt dialed. All right. So the winner by not a lot, dude. By not a lot. Velveteen Dream with 26% of the vote. Okay?
Yeah.
Listen, definitely does loser of the year. Number 2, Lars Sullivan, 24% of the vote. And then 22% of the vote goes to Retribution.
Yeah. And again, to reiterate, we're not knocking on anybody. We're not taking a poop on anybody. This is just the perception of pro wrestling angles and personas during the year.
Yeah.
Can we do the next one in our best podcast voices?
All right, you do it.
All right. The next category, MG Geek almost died. Return of the year.
Return of the year. What's the criteria, Rich?
The criteria: most impactful return or debut in a new place for fan engagement overall. I think this is MG Geek's way to work in Sting because he's the world's biggest Sting fan, and I'm fine with that.
It's Sting!
The category is called MG Geek almost died because he did, and we're glad you're okay and that you have rid your body
of your disease
corona,
and evils.
Of your disease and leprosy and polio and rickets.
And he got rickets. You know where he got rickets? At the biker bar he hangs out in.
Oh, of course. And I think he also got COVID-25 at the biker bar. But
I think that's where he got it.
He was buying it on the corner from a dirty biker.
Yeah. This was interesting because unanimously, I mean, the overall was 50% Edge.
Yeah, man. Edge. Awesome. 50% was straight down the line. Most impactful return or debut in a new place, right?
Yeah.
The two runner-ups, Roman Reigns, surprisingly, even though he was a viable commodity already for the last few years, and Sting.
It's Sting! And then we had, I guess, Carmella, Miro, Brody Lee.
All good returns.
All fine. Pac.
Matt Hardy.
A lot of good returns. The next category is my ultimate favorite. Andrew versus the Persian Potato, best feud of the year. The criteria was that their feud created intrigue and drew ratings over an extended period of time. In this category, we have Bayley versus Sasha. Been a solid feud for the entirety of their careers. Roman versus Jey Uso, very much enjoyed. Braun Strowman versus The Fiend, did not care about. Edge versus Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar, Jon Moxley versus Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega, and the FTR versus the Young Bucks. This was very interesting because the winner of this category, Rich, Bayley and Sasha by 34% of the vote.
Fantastically fascinating. Again, a lot of votes were tabulated for this. We did an online digital survey, and these are legitimate votes that we've got. Bayley and Sasha took it by 34%. What would your pick have been?
So I think that my pick, obviously different time, right? It probably would have been Drew and Lesnar. But because everything happened, I mean, I'm surprised that FTR and the Young Bucks weren't higher up in this. I mean, obviously they're the runners up, but it's a three-way tie for the runner-up. It's Roman and Jey Uso. It's FTR and the Young Bucks and Edge versus Randy Orton. Best feud of the year.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's interesting because you got to look at what Edge has been doing this year, and it could also go to Edge versus Drew McIntyre in a whole different scenario.
Oh, 100%. If there was no COVID, I think this would be a little different. But I got a statement and a question for you.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to be as astute as possible with it. Bailey and Sasha could possibly be our modern day Brett and Sean. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? Part 2 of that is, doesn't Bailey's character remind you of more of an Attitude Era style of promo and wrestling?
Now it does. Yeah, she's changed her total style.
Right.
Everything has changed about her. Her in ring. Her she's wrestling as like as a real heel, which I like.
Yeah.
I think their rivalry will go down as one of those top moments like Brett and Sean. Definitely, I could see that happening. I can see them comparing it to that in number of years.
Or not even so much Brett and Sean, but something I think that's more closer to what we really enjoyed in the 2000s, which would be Generico Steen.
Yeah, that was another unbelievable feud.
Tagged a bunch, fought a bunch, tagged a bunch, fought a bunch, brought it to another company, tagged a bunch, fought a bunch, tagged a bunch, separated, etc.
Yeah.
I think they can do that with Bailey. They basically took that rivalry and made it Bailey and Sasha.
Yeah, I think it's listen. That's a great comparison. Great comparison. All right. We have Rich and Andrews, best tag team of the year. This is a tremendous category here. We have Adam Page and Kenny Omega. You have Cesaro and Nakamura, golden role models. Who were the golden role models?
Tanahashi and
yes,
Ibushi.
Yes. Totally forgot about that. Kabuki Warriors, New Day, Revival FTR, Rude and Ziggler, Street Profits, and Young Bucks. Who did you have?
Bucks for sure.
You did.
Like Bucks, like for many different reasons apart from in ring. I think like the Bucks are definitely top 5 forever for me now at this point. After like the last couple of years. So my pick was the Bucks. What about you?
I'm gonna go with something very out there. I'm going to go with the Street Profits.
Really?
I think they had the best growth as a tag team all year long. Their promos are solid, and they've been featured to become a top contender.
I'm sorry, I was wrong.
I'm sorry, Golden. Yes, you were.
Golden Role Models are Sasha and Bailey. I forgot what I think. Tanahashi and Ibushi had a very similar name together.
I forgot what their tag team name was.
Yeah, it was Golden something.
Yeah, so So it says a lot, right? They would listen. Sasha and Bailey were a great tag team. I don't even freaking remember the name at this point, so that says a lot. FTR won, followed up by Kenny and Adam Page. See, Kenny and Adam Page had a great thing, but were they really like a tag team? I want to pick a tag team, not two guys put together.
But were they two guys put together because they had familiarity with each other stemming from their time in Japan?
They did. I still wouldn't consider them, or I wouldn't consider Rude and Ziggler like a tag team.
See, I'll agree with that. I think Nakamura and Cesaro also can kind of fall into that category, even though they work very well. Cesaro is an insane tag team wrestler. But I think the Hangman Kenny thing stems from that end era of their Bullet Club, so you can buy it more as a tag team, right?
Yeah.
It's like Kenny tagging with Chase Owens. You're like, all right, these guys aren't a tag team, but they're part of the stable. They'll work well together.
Yes. Let me open my notes here. Sorry, I lost.
Did you fall asleep?
No, I lost the notes. It refreshed on me.
Did me mentioning Chase Owens throw you into a downward spiral?
Anytime I hear Chase Owens, it happens.
Possibly the least mentioned wrestler on our show, by the way,
Chase Owens,
which is unfortunate. Yeah.
You know what was a memorable moment here was our friend Sean calling in to the show.
Oh boy.
The next category is the Sean and Leticia Breakout Star of the Year, and here's a little clip of Sean, if you guys don't remember. Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, call. You're on the air. Who's this?
Sean.
Oh, thank God it's Sean. Thank God. After the last call, I welcome this psychopath. Hi, Sean.
I don't know. Let's see what comes out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Sean's from Arizona, from Phoenix, right?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Where are you originally from?
Oh, you don't know I from Phoenix originally?
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Where are you from originally, Sean?
Sean, I got a question for you.
Sean sounds awfully familiar.
Sean sounds good. I don't know. I've never heard this voice before. Sean, I got a question for you. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time? And is it the Big Show?
Jeff Jarrett.
One of my favorite callers, Sean from Phoenix, and his lovely wife, Leticia. Breakout started here.
Johnny.
Huh?
And their son, Johnny.
And their son, Johnny, yeah. In this category, we have Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, Shotzi Blackheart, Ridge Holland, Pat McAfee, Bianca Belair, Jake Atlas, John Silver, Liv Morgan, and Leon Ruff. This was interesting. Okay, so who would be your pick straight out from this?
Just looking at the list, Darby Allin.
I would go with Darby. I would go with Orange Cassidy, and I'm not even a fan of that style. I would go with John Silver.
Yeah.
I would go with Shotzi Blackheart, way over Pat.
But who won?
Pat won.
Pat McAfee won, and I think the impetus for people was like, well, I would have gone with Darby Allin. I think you would have gone with Darby Allin or Orange Cassidy because like we're familiar with their work on the Indies, and their climb to the top, and it's amazing that they're on TV and everything, and they're starting to get the accolades that they deserve. But for a guy to straight come from the NFL and then get on commentary, start a feud with the top guy in NXT, and then deliver whenever he got physical in the ring, I feel like that left an indelible mark in people's minds who watch NXT.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it was, listen, it was a tough call. He won by 30% of the vote. 28% went to Orange Cassidy. 20% went to Darby Allin, and 12% went to John Silver. Bianca also was on that, and Shotzi also got a fraction of the votes.
I think...
I don't know. It's interesting because Pat had very, like, at the end of the year, he had a nice, everything that happened. If this had happened early in the year, I don't think he would have won this. I think you're looking at Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. But a lot of what Orange Cassidy does relies on a live viewership, right? Because that's where the reaction comes from. Darby is also very much part of his allure is the reaction people get when he kills himself. John Silver, like in my head, John Silver, he's gonna have a really strong year, and also Shotzi Blackheart is gonna have a strong year this year.
I think you're right. These guys, the guys on the list, women included. This year, 2021, Bianca Belair, 100%, John Silver, Leon Ruff, and Ridge Holland and Shotzi. This could be their year to shine big time.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a nice blend of creating new stars, right? Because that's the goal this year for everybody. WWE, obviously, we've discussed this on the show. Their goal, they have a multi-leveled approach to this, which is interesting. They are going to use a lot of these older guys to bring in the viewership, but they're also going to elevate people that you normally wouldn't see them elevate on TV to be put in these different situations, which we'll talk about in our prediction segment of the show coming up very soon. We're going through this right now. The next category is a 2020 COVID special best cinematic presentation. Obviously, due to everything happening globally, we were given way more cinematic matches than ever. We had the Boneyard match, Stadium Stampede, Backyard Brawl for NXT, Money in the Bank Corporate Ladder match, Firefly Funhouse, Tooth and Nail match, Elite Deletion, Bray's the Wyatt Swamp fight, the Bar fight, Jeff Hardy and Sheamus, and we had one final beat, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. We had 10 cinematically shot matches that are on this list here.
I feel like there was probably a couple more that we didn't include, but these are the top ones, right?
So I would have got, my pick is the Undertaker match. I think that was produced the best way.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
by far my
100%.
favorite one. Yours is Stadium Stampede, right?
It's for two different reasons. It's the Boneyard match and Stadium Stampede, and also we didn't mention the Boneyard match between
Yes,
Sex Ferguson and Chad Too Bad.
I would put the
Which I think
Boneyard
should
match
be
on
on there.
this. It should have been on here. I got to tell you. So I'm gonna give you my ranking here. Okay. Did not
Okay,
care
go
for
ahead.
Stadium Stampede. Didn't do it for
I
me.
know you
I
didn't.
get it.
I think
I
that's
get
so
it.
bizarre.
A lot of people think it's bizarre. Didn't do it for me. I thought it was overly complicated and unnecessary. But not my thing. Backyard
ask you.
Brawl. Yes, sir.
Was it because there was too much green on the screen? Like
A
you
lot
don't
of
like
green.
You
I
don't
don't
like
like-
AstroTurf.
No, I don't like green.
You don't like to be reminded of pro sports.
No. I just want plastic. I want wood floors. I want linoleum. I'll take tile.
Okay.
I do not want fake grass.
You don't want AstroTurf.
I don't want AstroTurf. Except if it's in the Astrodome, then I'm totally fine with that.
Okay.
Backyard Brawl. That match was bizarre. Didn't work out at Takeover in Your House between Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. I think a lot of it had to.
Was that after the stuff went down?
I think it was. I think it was like right when some of it started. Money in the Bank corporate ladder match I did enjoy. The finish was
fun.
but I did enjoy it. Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena and Bray Wyatt I would put up there also. I enjoyed it because we got to see John Cena come out to the NWO theme, which totally got... You know what? I'm going to blame COVID for this. That should have gotten so much more online hype that we got to see that and didn't happen. Tooth and Nails.
Right?
That was it. Yeah.
That was it for John Cena, right? Like he
Yeah.
he didn't really do anything after that.
Dude, he's in the void. He's stuck. He can't get out.
That's right.
He's
I hope he
reliving
gets
that
out.
every day.
Dude,
He just relives
All
it.
right. Can we take a moment here?
You want
Can we take a moment here?
you want to book this.
I want to book this real quick.
Yeah,
Just
do
give me your ear for a second, boss. All right. So we have John Cena stuck in the void, right?
Yeah.
We have the feud between the Fiend and Randy Orton. Do you think Randy Orton unlocks the door to release John Cena so that they can have their last match in their series of 1,000 matches that they've had over the last 75 years?
So he has an idea. What does John Cena look like when he unlocks that door?
Long beard like Moses,
Yeah, okay.
but he always strikes the poses. I think that will be his
His
rap when
body
he
is
comes
still
out.
jacked. It's like ridiculous. It's like he's been working out this whole time, but just tremendous beard.
Real Jack Moses is
Okay.
what I'm going for. Possibly a Zeus
Dude, what
or
if that's
a
how
Sky God.
What if that's how Bray defeats Randy Orton? Alexa does like a weird thing and summons John Cena to come out of the lamp. Like, dude, John Cena's the genie.
He's the genie.
Yeah, that's how it ends. That's how
Do
that
you
feud
want-
ends. John Cena, they rub the thing, and then he wishes that he murders Randy Orton and sets him on fire.
Does he do the song from Aladdin though?
Yeah, Prince. Which one?
You ain't never had a friend. He's
Yeah, why
he's
not?
the genie.
Yeah, why not?
I know
I
you
thought
love
he
that
was-
Prince Ali song.
I love the Prince Ali song. That's my
Do you
my
imagine-
jam.
Do you imagine yourself as Aladdin?
I do all the time, regularly. I identify as him.
If you were an actor, I feel like you would be my. If you were a really good actor, you'd be my number one casting choice for Aladdin.
Dude, I would be everybody's Middle Eastern friendly friend.
Mhm.
They're like, okay, maybe he looks a little Middle Eastern, but he doesn't really sound it. Whoa, what a crazy concept. I would
you'd
love
be
to
the
be that. You know what? I would like to be in Two Broke Girls. I'd like to be the
Okay.
Middle Eastern friend that's like American, and
Okay.
also in Zoe Deschanel's show, The New Girl.
One more time. I'm sorry.
Zoe Deschanel,
Okay,
right? I want to be in The New
Yeah.
Girl.
that's her name.
That is her name.
What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with her name? Is
One
it
more
did I say her name wrong? Zoe
Zo-
Deschanel?
Zoe Deschanel. There's an N.
There's an N. Deschanel.
Yeah.
I want to change it. Deschanel. like almost like a bechamel sauce.
That's what I was thinking. You were thinking like a pasticcio.
I want a pasticcio. Oh man, I would love a pasticcio.
You know, I
Love
I recently found out the Greek word for lady part.
Oh,
the P
what?
word.
What is it?
It's prosthesis.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Pustesis.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like it's diseased.
That's what they say. That's what they say when you go to that doctor, that specific doctor.
I want to go to a Greek-specific gynecologist.
You got a little pastigio on your prosthesis. That's what they say. That's when they tell you you're pregnant. Oh, God bless you for laughing. Vicky did not think you were going to laugh at that joke, by the way.
Oh, it's so funny. Congratulations. You know? Oh,
so good.
oh
wait,
my
we're
God.
doing an award show.
Oh shit, sorry guys. that I don't know, pop me. The winner of this match, of this award, is the Boneyard match. Followed up with the Stadium Stampede.
So good. So good.
I think you broke me.
When you laugh real hard, it makes me so much stronger. It makes me very powerful.
I don't know.
Oh, so good.
I can't. You gotta continue.
Are we done? Oh boy.
Go into it, please.
Christos Kalantzis in the chat room says that's what they told my wife. All true. Very simple.
Oh shit.
Oh, guys. All right. So the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker, best cinematic thing of the thing.
Yeah.
You ready to go to the next
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for. Okay, I gotta try it. Okay.
Please.
The Grave Actor biggest draw of the year.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm fine.
You got this, baby. You got this.
I got this. Okay, the criteria is star power, promo ability, and do you bring eyes to the show? This is interesting because there's so many good names on this. Of course, this is the Grape Aya Akhtar's biggest draw. So you got AJ Styles, Alexa Bliss, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, Brock Lesnar, Chris Jericho, Cody, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, Naito, New Day, Okada, Orange Cassidy, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, Seth Rollins, and the Young Bucks.
The Burks.
The Young Bucks. Do you know how to say shit in Turkish? Bok. B-O-K.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The winner, by the way, tremendous amount of people on this list. The winner is Roman Reigns. And you know what? I agree with that. I think
Sure.
the last half of the year that Roman turn has been tremendous. Now, is it bringing eyeballs? Yeah, I think it's helping. Definitely. Would this be a draw for people to go see? I think yes, definitely.
Would it put asses in seats?
I think so. I think it would. I think it definitely would. Listen, last night's SmackDown was not terrible. Was not bad at all. He killed Kevin Owens.
Yeah, 100%. I do like that they're feuding, though.
I do like it, yeah. It's not going to go anywhere. It's a nice filler feud, but it's fine. Roman Reigns with 28% of the vote. The runners-up, Jon Moxley with 20% of the vote, and Seth Rollins with 14%. And then there was a tremendous amount of people that got 6% of the vote. There was Becky. It was who else? I can't see down this list.
New Day,
yeah.
New Day, but New Day always has a great year. I feel like there's such a standard when it comes to modern pro wrestling that they're unbeatable and unattainable. You know, like that's the bar for a faction, right?
Yeah.
Like New Day, and like I don't want to say like Bullet Club or Elite because New Day it's the same three guys from the beginning, and they're still the new. Even though Big E's on a different show, it's still New Day, right? Like that's their new like. They could have easily have done the Shield stuff with New Day, but that moment is going to come later if you follow me, right? So like at some point in the next year, you're going to have that big moment where the New Day fully reunite and become another 3-man stable. Yeah.
Are you ready, Rich?
I'm ready, Poppy.
You're ready, Poppy? Are you ready?
Poppy.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
It is prediction time. By the way, thank you to MG Geek for putting this list together. Unbelievable.
Mm.
Everybody,
Thanks,
just
man.
thank him because he's been tremendously working hard at getting this list together. He did an unbelievable job, and he gave me that opportunity to laugh my ass off at Rich's Greek doctor. You know what? I want that to be a gimmick. You know what? Stevie Richards, I want him to return back to wrestling, do the Dr. Stevie gimmick, but he's a Hellenic
gynecologist.
He's a Hellenic gynecologist. Very Greek and very gynecologist.
By the way, my prediction for the rest of my day is me showing my wife this video and then just kind of rubbing in her face that you laughed so hard at
how hard I laughed at that ridiculous joke. It's freaking hysterical. Hysterical. I don't care what anybody says. Pack a day smoking doctor. Yes. Christos. Tikanis Christos. All right.
Can I share a little Greek story?
Yes, give me your Greek stories before we go into. By the way, submit your predictions in the chat room before we're going to stall with this Greek story time with Rich, but I really want you guys to give me your 2021 predictions in the chat.
So we ordered food the other day from a neighborhood Greek place, which is pretty fantastic. And really, it was like a nice little treat, right? And we opened one of the bags and we were like, yo, this straight smells like cigars.
Oh.
And then all my wife said was, old Greek men.
Listen,
that was it.
How'd it taste? How'd it taste?
Yo, phenomenal.
It doesn't matter. Adds more to the flavor.
It's awesome. All right,
the Greek place I used to go to, I was a kid. I used to go to Gyro Corner, and there may or may not have been a guy smoking a cigarette while he's doing the carving the gyros.
Just getting the ashes onto the griddle kind of made it a little better.
Kind of made everything. It adds flavor. So it is prediction time here on the show. We have a bunch of predictions that were submitted already throughout the week. Rich and I also have a bunch of predictions also. So let's go into the predictions. He says the boys' picks. So does he mean like pictures of us, or does he mean like picks as in PICKS?
Oh, that's true. Was I supposed to prepare a portfolio?
I don't know.
Were we supposed to prepare like a duo photo shoot, which is coming in 2021, by the way?
Oh, there
we're doing our Matt Men calendar.
We are in all our sexy poses.
You can get the safe for work version or the dirty version.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to do this because I never made it down to page 15 of this prediction list, so I'm going to have to go through social media also.
We're only on page 3.
So I know. Shit. Still. Let me pull this. Let me just see what we got here on Twitter, because I know that we had a lot of people submit them on Twitter. Let me just
this is good though. I mean, like, how about while we do that, we talk about our predictions?
Okay, yeah. Okay, he pasted a bunch in. Yeah, let's go. Give me your predictions first. Okay, here's a good question for you. When do you think we will get a live crowd back for WWE?
I'm gonna say SummerSlam, like full blown live crowd. SummerSlam.
Yeah. You're saying 100% capacity.
100%, 75 to 100% capacity will be a SummerSlam.
Okay. I'm going to go with there will be a live crowd. There will be a live crowd for WrestleMania. I'm going to go with that. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. There will be a live crowd at WrestleMania. I don't know if they'll do 100% at SummerSlam. I don't know.
75 to 100 at SummerSlam. Because
that's an interesting one.
If you remember last year, I think people were asking us, all you awesome fans were like, okay, what's your opinion on this? And both of us were kind of like SummerSlam or Survivor Series, you know? And that was like a hopeful. But I think
for 2020, you're saying?
For 2020. I think for 2021, we could be looking, I'm going to say generously SummerSlam 75% capacity.
Okay. All right. You know what? I think that's a good prediction to have. Let's see what else. All right. So here's one, and we'll put in a couple of our hours. Okay. The Tangerine one on Twitter that used the hashtag MattMen2021. The WWE title will be unified at or by Survivor Series. This has been a rumor that I have heard for a while. There's some sort of legitimacy behind this because they're realizing that their tag divisions, they don't have enough top tag teams to put together 2 separate tag divisions.
Okay.
So I think this could be a possibility of unifying this. You don't need a Raw champ. I mean, listen, a lot of these titles are set up for marketability and for sales.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, forget it. Yeah.
having a Raw tag team and having a SmackDown tag team sells title belts, it sells merch, it sells a lot of stuff. So I don't know how realistic this is as far as business goes. However, I do know that they have discussed this a number of times. Another prediction was WrestleMania across 2 nights again. I don't like the 2 nights thing. I don't like it. I think it takes it takes the specialness away from it.
My counterpoint, I love it. I'm glad that we like to agree and disagree on certain things, but I'm a big fan of the 2-night thing.
Okay.
I really enjoy New Japan's presentation of the 2-night. I think WWE's presentation of the 2-night was pretty fantastic because for me, I think because we cover this stuff, 2 nights equals not as much sitting on my butt and watching wrestling. You know what I mean? Like it's not an 8-hour ordeal. It's 4 hours and 4 hours, which I can totally do over 2 days.
But see, like if you're doing 2 nights, why are you not incorporating NXT in this?
That's another point. I agree with that 100%. Do you think it should go to 3 nights? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, NXT, whatever they have on Saturday, and then whatever they have on Sunday.
No, I mean, listen, WrestleMania is like 18 nights anyway, right? But I think it was. I don't like it being 7 hours long. I also didn't feel like the 2 nights added anything to it. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it in coming years, if they go to 2 nights in the coming years or not. A lot of it had to... The reason why they went 2 nights is because they had no live audience. They were still in the Performance Center, and they had a bunch of cinematic stuff shot. So it would have been so much for you to sit there in a stale environment and watch wrestling. We'll see what happens. His prediction is that they continue with 2 nights. I don't know. That's a pretty good bet. That's a smart bet. Third pick was by the Tangerine one. The Dynamite will surpass Raw in the ratings, if not in the key demo, then overall. I would say that's a very bold prediction because AEW is close, but I mean, dude, to add another 700, 800,000 viewers by the end of the year, I think they'll beat them in key demos. I don't think they'll beat them as far as overall ratings work.
Okay.
I listen, I'm hope I'm wrong, and I hope everybody's doing great. For AEW's case, I hope I'm wrong. I hope for WWE's case, I'm right, and they do better. But what do you think? You think that's going to be a possibility? AEW passes Raw as far as ratings go?
Ooh, I think that all depends on live crowds, and I think that depends on their lead-in. You know, like we saw last week where the NBA lead-in kind of it wasn't a backfire, but it brought eyes on the product, and I think in the social media world, it was more of something to be joked on, which is fine. You know, like wrestlers clearly have thick skin, and it's great. Even Jericho came out and said, like, "Hey, listen, I've been doing this for 30 years. I got thick skin. I don't care if somebody calls me fat." You know. I do think they will surpass Raw as soon as they get live crowds. I think they have an amazing machine behind them with TNT. It seems like TNT is really supporting them like big time, and they're happy with their numbers, which is really cool, especially with something that is still relatively new. It's not a proven commodity with Raw. USA, on the other hand, they know what they have with wrestling, right?
Yes. It's their entire bread and butter.
Right. So... And it's been that way forever, right? Like Raw was always on USA until you count the time that they moved to TNN, right?
Yeah, to Viacom. Yeah.
And then that was for what, like 2 or 3 years?
I think it was a 3-year deal.
And then moved back to USA. So it's a proven commodity for USA, but it's also, I think, so consistent that it's almost bland at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like they can hype Raw and pump out Raw in the same respect as they pump out Crisley Knows Best. You know, like it's just content.
I think they need to get beyond that. By the way, we're talking about ratings here. This is not official. This is according to the Torch. PW Torch has some ratings from this Wednesday. The Brody Lee Memorial Show drew 977,000 viewers, which is a very large increase over what the show did a week prior at 775,000. The number was also significantly higher than the viewership that NXT drew on USA head-to-head with 586,000. So these are not official numbers because Nielsen hasn't released the ratings, and they won't till Monday because it's a holiday week. But this is, according to what people are saying, this is pretty much the number here. Very surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm also surprised by that. But also, like, I think that's an interesting number. Me personally, like I've watched, no joke, that show from Wednesday night 3 times already.
Really?
Yeah, just because like I thought it was so passionate and heartfelt that I had to give it another like twice over, and it still just made me super emotional the 2 second times I saw it. I had to keep pausing it and just kind of like, like getting myself together.
Yeah. So I think AEW can surpass them in the key demo. I don't know about the overall rating. Paige versus Omega at All Out, where Paige wins the title. That's a very bold prediction for almost a year out. What do you think of that?
I don't think it's going to be Hangman doing it. I think Hangman's going to have, and correct. Listen, I'm not going to say correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like 2022 is going to be all about Hangman.
Okay.
2021,
slow it down a little.
Slow it down a little. I think he's a proven commodity, but I think their next big star could be a guy like Ricky Starks.
Interesting. Okay.
Like a crossover. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I listen, and I love Hangman. I love this dude for years, but I think 2022 is going to be all about Hangman. He's going to he's going to break that ceiling into like that next level character like you have with Jericho, Kenny, or Moxley, right?
Yeah. Interesting. So we also had Samoa Joe returning to the ring at the Rumble. You know what? That's a nice, safe prediction.
I'd love that.
Okay. PW Turn on Twitter says Lana will be Raw Women's Champion this year. You know what? I'm going to say no, she won't, because she will leave the company this year.
Disagree. I think she's going to get that belt and not resign.
Okay. You think she's going to dump it in the trash?
Oh, how amazing would that be? Imagine if we got that from Lana.
You know what? And I want it done in the Russian accent.
Oh, dude.
Right? That tops it.
Would you pop if she showed up somewhere else, probably AEW, with that Russian accent?
Can she do the Russian accent? And I'm curious if she's allowed to.
I don't think they have like a copyright on. You know
accent?
what? They might. If she calls herself anything to do with like Russia or Bulgaria, sure, but she can come out and call herself like, I don't know,
Masha.
the Belarusian Belle.
The Belarusian Belle. I like the
Masha,
Belarusian.
Right. And then
you made her from Belarus. I like that.
From Belarus. Right.
Minsk.
And then and she can come out and say like, I am Masha, this is my husband Miro.
The Minx from Minsk.
From Minsk.
Minsk. The Minsk. Minsk.
I hope it's not the Minx from Minsk, because you'd never be able to pronounce it.
Lewis in our YouTube chat says Becky Lynch returns at Survivor Series. I'm gonna go with SummerSlam. What do you think? When do you think she comes back?
I'm gonna say Becky sits out the majority of 2021 and comes back at TLC.
Okay, cool. I'm okay with that. Damian G. Rhea Ripley wins the Raw Women's title in 2021. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Good job, Damian.
Kayfabe Chronicles.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Kayfabe Chronicles. It's a early prediction, but Lee joins Hurt Business and wins Rumble. Wow.
Ooh. That's awesome booking. I disagree with that. I don't think Keith Lee's going to win the Rumble this year.
I don't think Keith Lee. No, maybe. What? Yeah, this year. Okay.
This year, Big E's winning the Rumble. I just have a feeling.
That's actually a really good. I want to talk about Big E when we go to some of ours again. John in our chat, we get back live crowds. Okay, fine. Safe, very low risk bet on that. Roman Reigns cements himself on the same level as John Cena as a top guy. I would say that he's already cemented that, but I understand where he's going with this. Raw doesn't have its viewership return above 2 million with the return of a live crowd. That's interesting.
I'll disagree with that one.
I think initially that first show when they go back, they'll have a big pop, because I think the first Raw with a live crowd will be the Raw after WrestleMania. That's the plan as of now, so who knows? So that'll probably do really high numbers, but do you think they'll average above 2 million on average or no?
I think once live crowds are back, you're going to get a steady increase in viewership, and then it's going to peter off a little bit. I do feel like WWE may be on the cusp of doing something to boost their ratings in general, and I feel like they've been hinting at interesting stuff, but really keeping their eye on their main storylines, which have actually been pretty fantastic, right? Fiend, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and I'll throw in the Big E IC title picture in there too. Like all that stuff has been good. It's the rest of it that really needs to draw the crowd, right?
Yeah.
Like R-Truth and the 24/7 title isn't drawing, like it's drawing viewers on YouTube, but not viewers at home on Monday night.
Okay. I get that. Did the feed die for you?
What, between me and you?
No. The stream, the live stream.
No.
Okay. It's not
I'm good.
connecting.
Why did
Okay.
it die for you?
Yeah, it died for me. And I don't know if
Do you
it's
have to, did you record this? Are we recording?
Where are we? Who is this?
Is this part of your dream?
All right, I think I'm back. Perfect. All right. We also have from Kayfabe, Bianca wins the women's rumble because I want to see Sasha and Bianca. I think it's too soon, but I think she'll have a really good year. Josh in our chat, Andrew will receive a baked sweet potato from a Subway stranger. You know what? And I will accept it and I will eat it.
I think they're going to start selling baked potatoes at Subway.
At Subway? Eat fresh?
That's
Perfect.
my prediction.
Damian G. Billy Kay has a better year than Peyton Royce.
Agreed.
Billy G is about to... They want to do something with her, so that is true. And John in our chat, AEW will have the long-awaited blood and guts match that we never got to see before the pandemic.
100%.
Okay, cool. Facebook, Andrew in our Facebook group says, gonna make the stupid CM Punk returns at Rumble prediction so we could get something good from people. We can get some actually good ones from people. Yeah, listen, I think that, that CM Punk thing, we're going to hear that until he shows up. But you know what? If there was a year for him to return, it would be this year.
Yes, I'll agree with that. But the dude needs a live crowd, right?
The dude definitely needs a live crowd. You're not going to waste bringing him back with nothing. And then we had another one. Fiend attacks Jeff Hardy. Okay.
I could see that.
Do that.
I think, again, the Fiend is like untouchable as far as like his presence goes. To touch on the CM Punk thing, you and I talk about this a lot on our show, which is this show, Matt and Men, the podcast. You think if he's gonna come back, it's gonna be for WWE, right?
If he does come back.
If that's the case, it's got to be with a live crowd. But on the other hand, I think it would be really cool for wrestling in general if he showed up with AEW.
Okay. I think that would be very cool for wrestling in general if he showed up at AEW. I think that's mostly what people want, but he did bring up the fact, he's like, I want to wrestle people that I haven't wrestled before. Right. And where can he do that? WWE, listen, he's never wrestled Styles. Him and Edge could have a program. Him and Keith Lee. Him and Drew. There's a tremendous amount of people on the WWE side as much as there is on the AEW side.
Kevin Owens?
Have him and Owens wrestled? No, probably not.
But then at what point do you stop trusting WWE to book the guy right, even on his return, and he ends up losing a retirement match to Baron Corbin?
And that's their big FU?
Right. I think it would just be like, from a fan's perspective, a CM Punk return would be muddled with a big FU. Like, you'd be waiting for the other shoe to drop. Whereas if it's on AEW, holy shit, this guy beat Kenny Omega for the championship. He is the best in the world.
Here's a question for you. Is this bias? Is the answer to this going to be bias, or is it going to be genuine interest? I'm willing to bet people are more likely to want to watch a wrestling match between CM Punk and Joey Janela than they would want to see Baron Corbin and CM Punk.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
So is that bias? Is that AW bias or WWE bias playing a part in that?
Oh, man, that's tough because WWE has had a history of that stunt casting for main events in the last few years, right? Because how do you know that that match between CM Punk and Baron Corbin isn't after a CM Punk Brock Lesnar match or after a CM Punk Roman Reigns match?
You know what? I'm saying first match back. First match back. Here's your first match back.
It's got to be big on both sides.
So if AEW did that, and are people going to say, I cannot believe they're wasting his first match with Joey Janela, or let's say Billy Gunn's son,
Austin Gunn.
That's his first match back, right? If they did it, I'm just saying, if they did it, would people poo-poo on it as much as they would if it was Baron Corbin and CM Punk in WWE?
I think the smart marks would go, huh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen.
Right. And then I think if it was Baron Corbin on the other side, the same people would be like, oh, that's so stupid, dude.
That's exactly what would happen. Yeah.
Poppy.
They all say Poppy. No more dude.
So stupid, Poppy.
So you want me to do some predictions?
Yeah, please.
You want to throw me some scenarios?
Okay.
Because you're good with those.
Let's start with what we were just talking about, which is CM Punk debuting in AEW around the middle of the year when crowds are back. Who does he face? What's the storyline? And where does it go from there?
I'll tell you. I'll give you the scenario right now. I never even thought about this until this very moment. Okay. Let's say they're in Chicago. It's September of 2021. They're in Chicago. They're doing a thing. Whatever. Listen. I'm just going with Chicago because it makes sense. Right. I don't know if it's at All Out or it's another Chicago show. Let's say it's a regular Chicago show.
It's Chicago.
Cody's outside. Cody's in the ring. He's cutting a promo about the best fans in the wrestling. He's pandering to the crowd, talking about everything he's accomplished in AEW and things that he had accomplished. At the other side, other place he was at. He had all these people holding him down. Blah blah blah. And here comes CM Punk, and CM Punk rips him apart and says, "You're that people. You're the one that kissed Hunter's ass, and you're the one that held people down because my dad. Unfortunately for me, my dad was not one of the top guys in the business, and you just went through everything. And look at you now, because of your father, you've achieved. You're running a promotion now." And he pretty much makes a comparison that Cody is no different than Vince and anybody else.
Okay.
And that's how you start the feud. The first feud would be with Cody.
I like that a lot, actually, to be honest with you. Like,
that's how I would do it. I'm not going with Omega. Yeah, I'm not going with Omega. I'm not going to go with, a title match or him and Moxley or a match that that wouldn't be possible anywhere else. Put him with Cody.
That's awesome.
That's how I would do it.
Got another one for you.
Okay, give me.
John Cena 2021 predictions.
He finally comes out as a robot.
Okay.
He goes on E. He goes on Access Hollywood, and he's like, "Listen, I just want to I want to let everybody know I'm a robot. I'm not real." And he takes off his face, and he's like a Terminator.
He's like the JC 2000.
Yes.
John Cena 2000.
John Cena 2000. He just turns into liquid.
You don't want him to come out of the void with a big beard like Moses. But
you know what? I think I love that he's sitting in the void still. That's the best scenario, that he gets summoned and he shows up. Yeah, he shows up and his feud is with Orton, and he beats Orton for the title. 17-time world champion.
Would you cast John Cena as Moses in a remake of the 10 Commandments?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
100%. Yeah, thank you. I like
would you cast Randy Orton as the Pharaoh?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, make him the Pharaoh too.
Who else?
Who else would you do?
What other predictions do you have for 2021, Andrew?
So let me see if this is a prediction or based on. I do think we're going to see more NWA affiliation with AEW. I think that's 100%. To come. I don't know if you saw this, what Okada said, but Okada did an interview, and he was talking about how he would love to see a super show in 2021 with AAA, CMLL, New Japan, Ring of Honor, NWA, and WWE and AEW.
Oh my God!
And he's like, we don't even have to wrestle each other, but the fans win.
Yeah, for real. Like, the fans would win, even if they had like these. I feel like, how that would go down. It would go down with the matches being between people who have worked together before, right? So like, Okada would wrestle like a Kenny, right?
Yeah.
And let's say Cody would wrestle like a Roman Reigns or something.
Okay.
You know, like I think just for the safety reason of that. Also, when you said, did you hear what Okada said the other day? Immediately in my head, I was like, oh, he called somebody Crumbelievable.
Crumbelievable?
I don't know why. He's like, buddy, you're Crumbelievable.
I don't know. I do think we're going to see more of that. I'm curious what we see on the WWE side more than anything else. Because you can kind of see the AEW trajectory. WWE is in a weird positioning right now where they have the best talent. They're making the most money that they're making.
Mm-hmm.
Their bottom line is not really being affected by TV or the lack of, consistently good TV. But on the other hand, their SmackDown show is stellar. They're doing a great job with SmackDown. They've elevated. Look at all the people that they elevated this year. Big E's put in a position right now where I do believe he's going to be world champion this year.
Oh,
and this is something we've discussed. We were talking about this same time last year.
Yes.
Right after, same time last year, we were talking about what can they do with Big E.
Yeah, and you know what? To interject a little bit, it was really cool that he had that Brody armband yesterday that said Brody, and that nobody enforced any kind of like a weird, like political nonsense with it,
Yeah.
I think Big E's got like such a big future ahead of him. He seems like such a nice guy, solid worker, not injury prone. Dude's been on TV for years. He's had WrestleMania moments. I think he would be such a great pick in 2021 to win that big belt, right? Crowd's back, Big E, give him his moment.
Yes. I think for him, and he could be a champion that holds on to that title for a while too, because he could definitely go. You want to know my wacky prediction?
I would love to. Give me your wacky prediction.
Paul Heyman turns on, and this will ruin the whole thing. Paul Heyman turns on Roman Reigns.
Okay.
With a low blow.
Ooh,
and the whole thing was to get the title back on Brock Lesnar. A match against Brock. Brock returns. Paul Heyman is confused. He's gonna stay out of it. There you go. Do it. Let me see. There you go. Paul doesn't want to get involved in this. He's loyal to both of them. And something happens. He runs out. You're thinking he's gonna help Roman, but he does a turn. And that's how Roman Reigns becomes a babyface again that nobody cares about.
I'll agree with that. I like our new graphics, by the way. They're pretty excellent.
Nice.
Yeah. I like your shirt, too.
Oh, thank you. Chase Stadium. Who wins the men's rumble? Rich, I'll go to you first.
I did say Big E about 10 minutes ago. I do think in order to make it a really pow year, it's going to be Edge.
I'm going to go with Edge also. Yeah, I'm definitely going with Edge. Let's see what else we got here. Prediction, Liv Morgan will get Becky and Daniel fan push going against The Office. I don't think Michael Scott cares about wrestling, MG Geek. I really don't think he does. No, I think that I don't think Liv Morgan is going to get that push. I know that there's a lot of people feeling it right now.
Which?
That Liv Morgan is going to get a big push.
I feel like whenever WWE does a documentary on somebody, that person inevitably does not get a push.
Okay.
And we saw the writing on the wall with Hideo Itami a few years ago. They made this beautiful documentary with him.
Oh my God, yes.
And you were like, yo, this dude's going to the top, and then boom, nothing. Nada, zip, zilch.
But Itami was weird because he came in a weird year.
Yeah. He wasn't treated as an indie darling.
He was not treated as an indie darling, and they really took the confidence out of this guy. By the way, he's 39 years old, so he spent
Get out of here.
Yeah. Kenta's 39. When did he go to WWE? 2014? 15?
14.
2014, yeah. He came in, and they really were going to push this guy, and he got hurt. And then people started complaining that he's too stiff. And there you go. That's exactly what happens with these guys. And it was exactly what people predicted was going to happen because people have said, like in an interview he did last year, He said his time in WWE was one of the most frustrating in his life.
I could imagine, especially coming from like, I think the guys who come over from Japan have more of a hard time adjusting. I think Kota Ibushi is like a good example during that Cruiserweight Classic that happened, where it's like, no, we don't really want you to kick the shit out of people. Like, we want you to make it look good, and then the guy going, but I'm gonna kick the shit out of the guy. It's gonna look great, and they're like, no, too much.
Yeah, listen, this dude spent a lot of 5 years of his career in Japan, in at the Performance Center, essentially in NXT, and 5 years of peak career. He was 34 years old when he went there. So you got a 34-year-old at the top of their game, and now you just pulled a rug under them. It did not work well for him. I think he's going to be fine in New Japan. What else? Do we have any other predictions before we wrap it up?
Let's see. Inner Circle from Nick Bates. Inner Circle turns on Jericho. Jericho goes on tour. Comes back a big babyface.
Okay, cool. I see that happening.
I'm down with that. I think Jericho is going to take 2020 easy and then come back in a big way. There's going to be something that happens with the Inner Circle. I think a face turn is possible. The other face turn, I think, is Dark Order can never be heels again, right?
Oh, yeah, that's over. John Silver's getting a push to the moon.
For the time being, it's going to be like Evil Uno, John Silver, like all those dudes are getting a big push. Cabana, Page. We're going to see what happens. I think next week's Dynamite is going to be pretty interesting just to see the fallout of last week, if they make some adjustments or if they keep going,
Who becomes the leader of the Dark Order?
Ooh, I think Uno.
Okay.
Maybe Silver. Maybe Eric Redbeard if they sign him to a contract.
I'm going to go with something totally whacked out. You ready?
Hit me.
Marty Scurll.
Ooh, buddy. He did show up in Ricochet's New Year's Eve picture yesterday.
In Ricochet's?
Yeah. Ricochet posted some Instagram shots, and Marty was in the background there just hanging out.
Interesting.
So who knows? I like that prediction, though.
If not him, then I'm going to go with Matt Hardy because he was originally supposed to be the guy.
All right. I could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Broken
Broken Matt Hardy. Are we done?
I think we're done, baby.
All right. Hey, boys and girls, that was our recap of 2020. Those were our predictions. Are you doing your anime poses?
I'm doing my kawaii pose right now.
Yeah, there you go.
While you do the outro.
Perfect. I'll do the outro. Guys, next Thursday, the show debuts on the Wrestling Observer website, Figure 4 online website. The cutest boy in podcasting, Rich Stambolian, will be here with me. Next Thursday, we're going to be recording the show. I believe they're announcing something this week. We got a lot going on. Be ready because the show's going to a whole new level, and it's going to be even crazier than usual. The show's getting nuttier. It's going to get even more nuts. I'm telling you.
We're going to get
really bananas.
So bananas.
We're going to get really bananas. So we're going to do that. Also, guys, follow us on Instagram, Mattmen Podcast on Instagram. We post there daily. The Facebook group, just search for Mattmen Podcast on Facebook. Mattmen Discussions is the Facebook group. Over 14,000 people in that group. And, of course, on Twitter, at Andrew Zarin. You can follow me. At BTC Rich, you can follow Rich. Are you having mimosas?
I'm having a mimosa right now, baby.
Man.
My Saturday is beginning strong.
Oh, yeah. I need a mimosa now. That's what
baby.
I need. That's
Get
what I need.
Mimosa.
All right, guys.
I'm happy about this mimosa, but it's happening.
Yeah, listen, I got champagne. I'm gonna make a mimosa.
Yeah, baby, let's do it.
Not Dr. Drew. Adam Carolla have Mangria. He had a sangria for men. Mangria.
It doesn't sound good. I do kind of remember that.
You remember that? I thought it was a mimosa. It's a mangria. All right, guys. That's it for this week. Love you all. See you on Thursday.
That's fun.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was
Thank
great.
you. Now my wife got up. She's walking around. I'm gonna have to reiterate the you got some pasticcio on your pusistas joke.
Oh, so good. So good.
I do have to reiterate. Do you hear her in the background? She's like yelling at me. She's about to
What's
dump
she
a pot
saying?
of coffee on
All
me.
right, you go.
All right, love you, baby.
Love
Goodbye.
you.
Happy New Year.
You
Talk
too.
to you.
Happy New Year.